This is Abington Place. It's a property owned by Mary Slack, and it's right in the heart of horse racing country here in the UK at Newmarket. Long been the headquarters of racing, in fact. With me, Steven Jel, who's assistant trainer to Mike de Kock. And Mike is the master of this yard, but you're the guy who's here most of the time, Steven. Your background, as far as this property is concerned, I think you've been coming here for a good few years.
We bought the yard about 3 years ago. One of the owners, Sheikh Khalifa, bought the yard. We continued coming for the next year, and then we gave it a miss last year. And then Mary bought the yard the end of last year, and we've grown since then. Mike's vision was to go to basically get South African racing going in England, and I suppose helping the other trainers get horses out the country and get them racing internationally. It's hard for a guy to send one horse and staff members and set up, international racing for one horse. We've got the infrastructure, we've got everything. We've been around for a while now. We know the structures. The place is available. We can decide: do you want to send your horse and we look after it, or do you want to send your horse and you look after it? I suppose it's up to the trainer.
Well, Stephen, somehow you've managed to drag me up through the roof of the attic, and we're now standing on the roof here of Abington Place. But let's just get our bearings as far as the surrounds are concerned. Immediately below us, Mary's stables, and then over there in the background, who owns that?
So Michael Stout on the other side of the road.
That's his main stable.
That's his main yard.
And next to that,
we've got Clive Britton next to him, John Gosden.
So we're in incredible company as far as the trainers around here are concerned.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say it is the best spot in Newmarket.
Place to be.
Just because of the access to the gallops, we don't have to cross roads. We're on the heath, so it's prime position.
Your stable yard here, how many horses can you accommodate at any one time?
We've got a yard of 28 boxes available, and then we rent out another 30 boxes on the property.
Let's take a closer look at these stables. The red-faced brick is probably fairly typical of the buildings here in the Newmarket area. It reminds me of growing up in Marriottsville, I must be honest, where all the buildings were like this. But historically, how old do you think that this property would be?
This is built in 1889. The date's up on the clock tower.
Right.
That is the house and the stables that are around us, and then various other stables and outbuildings and sheds and that have been added on through the years.
And if you went to the stables in the surrounding area, all very typical of this type of conformation.
Yeah, the old yards built in those days are really basically on the same line as this.
Can we have a look at some of the boxes, because I notice that they're very stoutly built. They're very sturdy, but different to the stables that we have in South Africa.
Yeah, I suppose a stable is a stable, but they are you get some big ones, some small ones, but these are nice size stables.
It's steeped in atmosphere.
And obviously built for the weather, which they are really warm stables for the cold winters that are here.
Now, the horses that you've got here now would be mainly horses that have come from South Africa via Mauritius, would they?
Yeah, they spent 3 months in Mauritius.
What have we got here? Vercingetorix. Okay, well, he comes with an unbeaten record. Stephen, at this stage of his preparation to go to Dubai, how far advanced would he be? Because you can't do too much work with them in Mauritius, can you?
They trot and hack canter around. They're out their boxes for about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. But it's not a lot of actual strenuous exercise.
What sort of work do you do during this interim period in the UK?
You introduce them to the tracks and let their basically muscles just start getting used to work again. But we have got to push them along a little bit, because we are a month behind again. We've been in this situation a couple of years ago, but we are, compared to once or twice before, we were about a month behind.
These sudden climate changes, they must affect certain horses, and I imagine that was what went wrong with Igugu. She was coming into season and never really got it right.
Certain horses adapt to the travel, certain horses adapt to the climate. It's one of those things that you got to put them through it and wait and see how they handle it before you can make
We've
you're
got
not
some
too sure.
big names though, Stephen. We've got Vercingetorix, we've got Variety Club. Who else is here?
We've got a nice overall bunch, young, old, fillies, numerous group placed, group winners.
Well, this is Variety Club right next door. He's an entire, the same as Vercingetorix, but I imagine you don't know that much about him because he comes from Jay Ramsden's yard.
He's come from Jay's, yes. I mean, Jimmy, you learn about these horses quickly. Obviously, we've watched him race numerous times in South Africa. But you learn quickly, and you get feed information from the trainers as well if they come from other trainers. So it's all a little bit of a learning process for everyone, horses and us.
What's he doing at the moment? Much the same as all the others. You're just working him up slowly.
Yeah. They're all in basically in medium work. Show him in the tracks. We'll pick up the work from next week again.
This is heavy metal then. He's what, the third July winner that you've had here at the stables at Abington now.
Yeah, it's, obviously we've had two Igugu and Bolts of Honor. He's still going to be under Sean's name. We'll do the preparation, all that, and I'm sure Sean will do the final touches on him. But he's adapted and he's handling all whatever we throw at him.
You're a fantastically placid little horse. I remember we filmed him after he'd won the Durban July. And I think you did exactly the same. You stood with your head on my shoulder, quiet as a lamb. But what are you doing with him at the moment?
Yeah, he does a little bit of treadmill training and showing in the tracks as well.
Other than the 17 horses that are standing here at the moment and about to be shipped, there are others that you've already sent across, and they must include the likes of Soft Falling Rain, Shay,
the Apache.
Your hopes for him would probably be again centred around the Dubai duty free.
Yeah, basically you go the same type of route, maybe tweak her, maybe change one or two things in the beginning part of the season, because we know now what we've got. But the aim would be duty free again.
But he was obviously thriving here during the British summer.
Yeah, a lot of the horses that come out there, depends what kind of season they've had over there. You give them a little rest, or you start up very quickly. And he was one of the horses that really adapted to the training and the climate and all that here. Soft Falling Rain on the other end, we had to give him a bit of a break because he got a little bit injured after Dubai and initially coming here, so we gave him a long break.
Yeah. In general though, Stephen, I mean, would you say that this is probably the strongest string you've ever sent across? It's maybe the biggest in numerically.
It's definitely the biggest. With the likes of those horses going back again and running another season, those the ones that won last year, it's pretty strong. All round we've got various amounts of different types of horses for the different. We've got sprinters, stayers, fillies, young, old. So we'll have a number of horses in racing against each other, which is it's nice for us because one falls and the other one picks up and carries on.
Looking around Abington today, it looks as though it's a combination of the modern and the old, of course. But what kind of changes has Mary wrought since she took it over?
Doors have been done. They were solid doors that the horses couldn't get their heads out.
You've got some very happy-looking horses looking out now.
Sun shining, so they are. The ground has been rubberized, which is very kind on the horses' feet when they're barefoot, and it brings a certain amount of calmness about them as well, without having
so there's none of that
clattering of hooves
that they're used to here in these English stable complexes.
That's it.
Out here, of course, I suppose you can't do too many changes with these buildings because they're listed buildings, but it seems as though there's quite a lot of development over here. What have you got in total?
Jimmy, we've come out the main yard now of 24 stables. On this side over here there's 30 boxes which we rent out at the moment. And then basically to my right this is where the horses walk up to the gallops, and the walkers and all activity outside the yard. We've got 3 walkers which can accommodate 15 horses at any given time. Two with a roof on, which is pretty vital in this country because of the weather. And one without, which if you need the sun on their backs, they get it. We've got a force walker behind us here, which is
apparently the second oldest one in Newmarket, and then a 5-1 with the roof over there, and just around the corner one of the 6 with the roof over as well. We've got turnout pens, starting stalls, as you saw over there, to teach the young horses start and stall practice. We're in the process of putting various turnout paddocks and all that in this area behind us, and on the other side there's a lot of open space as well. So
That is behind the main house.
yeah, so it is horse heaven really.
Stephen, I imagine the weather plays havoc with your plans here when you're training horses in the UK. But you've got things like a treadmill here. Is this an innovation of fairly recent times? I know Mike's quite keen on using treadmills.
This is one of our, I think, couple that we've got around the world. We've got a couple in Dubai, a couple in South Africa, one year, and it's just one of the tools, one of the extra tools that helps us with the training of different types of horses. It's just an extra added bonus, really.
I'm quite intrigued by the other facilities you've got here. This next door is what?
It's called the indoor ride.
I'm going to have a look at that. Was this then part of the existing infrastructure when Mike took over?
Yeah. This has been here for many years, as you can see, and it's a blessing having a thing like this yet again with the weather. The horses come here in the morning. It's an all-weather surface. We trot to warm up, and then they can either walk in here if it's really bad weather after work. If they don't go onto the walkers, they can come and trot in the afternoon. We do hack a little bit. So I mean, it's about 200 meters around, so you can hack a good couple of times around to build up the mileage as well.
We haven't yet managed to get to the actual gallops. This way?
Outside.
Okay. You were saying before that you've got the great advantage here of just walking straight out from the yard onto the gallops. It's amazingly open countryside. Just explain how these tracks work and the different tracks and where they are.
So I mean, yeah, that's, as you said earlier, it's an advantage of the position of the yard. You walk out and you've got about 6 or 7 different tracks which are in a space of 10-minute walk. A lot of the other trainers have to cross tar roads and walk along tar roads, traffic and all that. So we are at an advantage position-wise. So your options within the space of less than 10-minute walk is, I mean, you've got your ups, downs, left, rights, short, long.
If you're racing here during the summer months and you're acclimatizing a South African horse to the English conditions, these undulations must be very, very useful. But for horses that are arriving here and going straight on to Dubai, can they cope with these quite serious gradients?
They struggle initially to start off with going uphills and all that, but as any animal or even myself, run uphill for the first time, you're going to struggle, but do it a while and you get used to it, and they just get better. You can actually see them improving as the days go by. They just improve all the time.
These horses here from South Africa, having moved up through Mauritius, you've got to be careful that they don't sort of develop winter coats. I imagine they do before they're starting to.
No, it's management. You got sheets, you got fleece sheets, you got blankets, light blankets, heavy blankets. So they stand with 3, sometimes 4 rugs and sheets and red lights on throughout the night.
I believe that's quite a sight.
Rubberized floors. So you basically it's management, and you keep them warm because we're basically going to go into a warmer climate again, so we want to keep their coats, and it will be an advantage to us by having a horse think that he's in summer compared to the northern hemisphere horses that have gone into winter that are going to go race like that. So
we're talking about a major logistical exercise in climate control.
It's amazing what we put these animals through, and people out there that don't realise what we actually go through to get the horses from country to country, the travelling, the aeroplanes, the conditions we put them through. It's mind-boggling what they go through, and they still perform to the ability that they can. So,
and this is all due to one tiny little midge that is calling the shots.
The
at
world
moment.
is not actually interested in our problems. That's why we've basically said, you know, we just got to carry on and not let it affect us, because if you let those things affect us, we'll never win. So just put the bad things behind you and aim at letting the horse run past the line and in front of the rest and winning those races. You know, when they win those races, we know what they've been through to get them there, to not even compete against others, just to get there. It's a hell of a process. But
minor miracle.
when they win the races, we go out and we celebrate, and we have good times because we know what we've been through.
Well, that's Abington Place, essentially a work in progress, but already boasting all the facilities required to make Mike de Kock one of the most competitive trainers here in the UK and, of course, at the Dubai Carnival.